Hey everyone, Raptor Spank here. Today I've got a dash of flavor for you. This is the show where we build a deck that combines enjoyable gameplay with a strong story or flavorful background. You may have noticed that many cards in Legends of Runeterra have fun voice lines at specific moments, such as entering the battlefield. Many of these cards will also interact with other similar or significant cards. This time we're playing a Lux Mageseekers deck that focuses on strong Lux interactions. Particularly we have an emphasis on the interaction between Lux, a Demacian mage in hiding, and the Demacian Mageseekers that imprison and exile mages they find. The deck features many Lux retorts to the prideful statements of Mageseekers.
Confine and contain.
You don't know what you're doing!
Stand back. I'll contain the threat.
Who's the threat here?
The Mageseekers also interact with each other frequently.
Control the mages!
Keep the peace.
I've also included fun champion interactions with Ezreal and her brother Garen.
Careful, Lux.
I can take care of myself. What are you staring at?
What, me? You? Nothing. I'm Ezreal.
Finally, various spell triggers responses from the champions.
Firing!
Can every day be progress day?
Now let's go into a more detailed breakdown of the deck and how it works. Let's start with the deck's champion package, starting with the title of the deck, Lux. She's a 6 mana 4/5 with barrier, and she levels up once she's seen you cast 6+ mana worth of spells. This doesn't have to be one spell that costs 6 mana, it can be a number of spells that add up to 6 mana, and when she levels up she creates a final spark in hand, which is a 0 mana slow spell with trample that deals 4 damage to a unit. So any amount of damage over the unit's health will trample over and hit your opponent. Once she levels up, she's a 5/6, and anytime she sees you cast 6+ mana worth of spells, she creates another final spark in hand. This is basically the core concept of the deck, using a lot of 6 mana spells or even smaller spells added together. You level up your Lux quickly, and then you create a bunch of final sparks to burn out your opponent's board. The next champion is Ezreal, which we have 2 copies of. He's a 3 mana 1/3, and he levels up once he sees you target an enemy unit 8 times. It doesn't have to be the same unit, it can be any number of units, and whenever he hits your opponent, he creates a fleeting Mystic Shot in hand. Once Ezreal levels up, he's a 2/4, and he keeps the Nexus Strike, create a fleeting Mystic Shot, and whenever you cast a spell, he deals 2 damage to the enemy Nexus. Obviously, this works pretty well with the Mageseeker package, since there's a lot of spells in the deck, so you should be able to trigger the 2 damage very reliably. And Lux's Final Spark can be used to level up your Ezreal. It's a little slow to level up an Ezreal, but he's a great way to finish the deck if your opponent gums up the board. And finally, our last champion is a single copy of Garen, a 5 mana 5/5 with regeneration, who levels up once he's hit your opponent twice, or once he's dealt damage twice. Once he levels up, he becomes a 6/6, and he rallies at the start of turn. So once he levels up, he will basically give you an attack token every turn if you don't already have one. It's particularly good in this deck because you can use single combat to level him up in a single turn if you swing with him and then single combat something, as long as your opponent can't kill him. Alright, the next package is the Mageseeker package. This is the primary goal of the deck, is to cast 6 cost spells or higher, and all of these cards benefit in some way or help enable the strategy. The first card is 3 copies of Mageseeker Conservator, a 1 mana 1/1 with Last Breath, create a random 6+ cost spell from a non-Demacia region. This card basically serves as an early blocker, and it creates enablers for the rest of the Mageseeker package. And because it's random for any region, sometimes it can give you some crazy spell you weren't counting on that gets you out of a situation you thought was hopeless. The next card is 3 copies of Mageseeker Persuader, 2 mana 3/2, and whenever you've cast a 6 cost spell, it doesn't have to see it. You could have done it earlier in the game, you can do it afterwards. Grant the Mageseeker Persuader +1/+1 and Challenger. This is an aggressive 2-drop that can be very good against control decks by playing them early, and against aggro decks, it can usually eat a couple units before dying itself, especially if you can get the 6 mana spell off, because then it's a 4/3, and it can force your opponent to block, so it provides a lot of board control. The next card is a single copy of Mageseeker Investigator, a 3 mana 3/3, and if you've cast a 6 cost spell, or if you cast one after playing this card, you'll get a Detain in hand. This is basically here as a clean-cut answer all removal. You can usually deal with most creatures using a variety of removal spells, but some things that are too big or too hard to deal with, Detain gives you a clean answer, so you always have some answer to what your opponent might do. Such as Unyielding Spirit, you can detain it, and you have a number of pretty big creatures in this deck that can be used to detain. And finally, for the Mageseeker package, there's 3 copies of Mageseeker Inciter, a 4-mana 4/3, and if you've cast a 6-cost spell this turn, or when you cast one, grant him +2/+2. This just is one of the most powerful creatures in your deck, because it's usually going to be a 6/5 for 4 mana, which is extremely potent on curve, and it will usually end up being your big finisher. Now let's go over the trigger package. These are all ways to trigger either your Lux level ups or trigger the Mageseekers. The first card in this package doesn't really enable your Mageseekers, but it plays very similar to the rest of the package, so I felt it should be included here. And that's 3 copies of Succession, a 3-mana slow spell where you summon a Dauntless Vanguard, which is a vanilla 3/3. It's not actually a trigger, but it works well with Lux, since it allows you to establish your board control while still putting mana towards leveling up your Lux. And it's extremely good against, say, control decks, since you can play this as early as turn 2 for a 3/3, which is hard for most decks to deal with. The next card in the package is the real bread and butter of the trigger package, and that's 3 copies of Remembrance, a 6-mana slow spell that costs 1 less per unit that has died this turn of yours, and it summons a random 5-cost unit from Demacia. Basically, your number 1 strategy is to wait till turn 3 without spending any mana and then casting this spell. It's the earliest you can get a 6-mana spell out, and this will create a lot of really powerful creatures, since almost every creature is a 5/5, with the only exception being the 5/4 Challenger that when it dies gives you another elite unit in hand, which is a 2-for-1, so that's also strong. And after the most recent buffs, the Scout unit is a 5/5 instead of a 4/5, so most of these things will be a huge body. And if you do it post-combat or something has died and you get it cheaper, you might even get a Radiant Guardian that has Tough and Lifelink. But the basic idea is to make it cost exactly 6 mana and not benefit from the cheapened cost, because that will enable your Mageseekers. The next card in the package is 2 copies of Unlicensed Innovation, a 6-mana spell that summons an illegal contraption, which is a 5/5 vanilla unit. This is just here to level up Lux or enable Mageseekers and build a strong board at the same time. It's another 5/5. It's just there to give you a pretty good chance of having that turn 3 5/5. And then there's 3 copies of Progress Day, 8-mana burst spell that lets you draw 3 cards. This enables your Mageseekers, it refills your hands, it levels up Lux instantly, and does all of this at burst speed so your opponent can't react to it. It's just a really, really great card that helps you dig through your deck if you're missing combo pieces, and turns on all of your combos. And finally in the package, there's 2 copies of Unyielding Spirit, 8-mana burst spell that grants a unit I can't take damage or die. And it does all of this at burst spell, so your opponent cannot interact with this. It's really great to use on the Lux, since it will level her up automatically and make it so your opponent can't kill her. So the only thing they can do is have, say, a Detain or some sort of Obliterate. So that is the number 1 combo in the deck. Once you've used Unyielding Spirit on Lux, you are pretty much invincible into most matchups. And this also enables all your Mageseekers. It's a really powerful finisher, one of the best in the deck. Finally, we have the utility package. This starts with 2 copies of Thermogenic Beam, a 0-mana slow spell. It spends all mana that you have, so you can't cast it for a certain amount. It will use up every amount of mana in your pool, and then it'll deal damage to a unit based on how much mana it used. So if it costs 6, it'll deal 6. So it's basically our flexible removal, since the damage it does scales with how much mana you have. It can answer threats that otherwise you wouldn't have an answer to. And even better, if you cast it for 6 mana, not only does it kill something that's huge, it also enables all of your Mageseekers, it levels up your Lux, it does all that because it counts as a 6-mana spell. The next card is 3 copies of Single Combat, 2-mana fast spell. An ally and an enemy strike each other. This is a great way to leverage your really large creatures, usually 5/5s or 6/5, to basically serve as removal. And it can also work with Garen to level them up in a single turn. It's just a really great removal spell in this deck, because it's usually you killing your opponent's creature without losing your own. Next, we have 3 copies of Prismatic Barrier, 3 mana burst spell, give an ally barrier. This is just protection for our large allies. It can be really useful with single combat as well to really ensure that you kill your opponent's stuff without losing anything. It can protect your Lux, it can protect your Ezreal, it can protect some important Mageseeker like one of the challengers. It's just a great utility card for protecting what your deck is trying to do. And then finally, we have 3 copies of Gotcha, 4 mana fast spell, deal 3 damage to a unit, and it costs 2 less to cast if you've drawn it this turn. It's just a generically strong removal that could be as cheap as 2 mana, and even the 4 mana cost can be really good for flipping a Lux. If, say, you have single combat plus Gotcha, that can level up your Lux. It won't enable your Mageseekers, but it does half the combo. It's just a good solid round out for the removal package. And that's the deck. Alright, here we go for game 1 with a dash of flavor Lux. Looks like we're playing against the BPZ Twisted Fate Fizz aggro deck that was kind of popular there for a bit. I definitely don't want both of these 6 cost spells. There's an argument for not even keeping any of them. Succession could be pretty good in this specific matchup. Lux is good if we can get there, but I think we have the pitcher because this is an aggro deck, so we kind of need a low curve start. But I'll keep the Succession in case they're really off to the races. No, we got the Lux anyways. But if we can make it to Remembrance, that'll be great. I'm tempting to play this Mageseeker Conservator now, but I don't think we need to. There is an argument for doing Succession here. We're attacking turn 2. You know what? I think we're gonna go for it. This is a pretty good card into what our opponent has. Twisted Fate will be a problem on turn 4 if he can kill this, but we should be good. We should be good. By that point, we're getting into Remembrance territory, so. Okay. Nothing he has there kills the 3/3.
Why are you
I assume he's gonna, chump block. He didn't have the turn 1 Fizz this game, so that's very good for us, obviously. He might have it here now, though. Warning shot. Okay, so he's trying to get Plunder off. What Plunder payoff does he have? Pilfered Ghost. Alright. We're not as scared of this because he probably doesn't have a way to really pay off these Mageseekers. Our deck is highly built to do it from stuff like Remembrance and Unlicensed Innovation. Whereas his deck will probably have a hard time casting a 6-cost spell to buff the Mageseekers. That said, we do have a lot of spells too, which would be great for his Fizz. And if he found like Remembrance or Unlicensed, those could be problematic for us. Next turn we are set to Remembrance. I'm not so sure that I'll do it. We're getting close enough to Lux now that it's possibly worth waiting to level up Lux with Remembrance. I'm definitely just going to go straight to combat since he hasn't played any blockers, so we'll just swing with these 2 and get the 3-4 damage through. Because chances are he plays some sort of blocker.
Water.
That was the least concerning blocker he could play. I wonder if I play Thermogenic here, actually, because that will buff Mageseekers. The question is, how worried am I about needing it later? I think we're fine. Yeah, I think we could do Thermogenic here. Because it costs exactly 6 mana, which means that all of our Mageseekers are going to get buffed by that. Yeah, that's not too bad. We forced him to burn all of his mana. We still got our 6 mana cast off. We don't actually care if this dies that much. It's only 2 damage right now. But yeah, so our Mageseekers should be buffed now. So we're just going to run them out there.
Magic is insidious.
So we stay vigilant.
Nice.
You gotta get that little bit of flavor. Black Market Merchant could be a problem for us, but we'll see. Ooh, when he's drawing our entire deck, it's definitely a problem. Especially since all of his things cost 2 less. Like, our spells cost 2 less. Yeah, that one's probably... Yeah, that is ours. Yeah. That's not necessarily ideal, but that's more or less fine. There's a good chance... Yeah, okay, drawing another one off the top, we're definitely going to just play a
Let
Lux.
the light guide you.
He should have a pretty hard time killing her, since she has barrier and 5 health. Ooh, found one of our progress days. That's actually pretty brutal. But he is out of mana now. Ooh, 0 cost Fizz. That's unlucky. Yeah, we don't have an answer for that right now.
Yep.
We'll have one next turn, potentially.
Illuminate the enemy.
I think we're fine trading with any of his things, honestly, at this point. I think there's a good chance we can't single combat kill Fizz regardless, so... Is he really gonna trade Fizz away? Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Alright, that's good. Perfect. I don't know why he took that trade, but I'll take it. That's fine with me. Oh, he has another one. Wow, he hit double Fizz off Progress Day? That's some unlucky beats there. That's some nearly impossible stuff right there. He hit double Fizz off that.
Vessel's small, but she ain't lacking courage.
I think we're just gonna cast this and level up our Lux.
Pushing my limits.
That's a decent find. This final spark could be pretty good for us.
Through the coral.
Let's see if he swings with Fizz. Let's see what he casts first off. What's he got? Make it rain. We're okay with that. All of that's okay. The question is, who do we try to kill off this? I'm leaning towards Fizz, but this Hunters is too problematic for us. We have to go for it. This will be a real problem for us if it lives. I could definitely see it living here, but I don't really want to let him choose where the blocks go. Now the question is whether we go for this single combat. He almost certainly has protection. Chum the Waters he can't cast, right? Yeah, we'll let that happen.
Here, Sharky.
We can always use this to try and force the Fizz to fight. Oh, I could Dawn Dusk this. That would actually be pretty decent. That's a weird play, but it has some advantages. Because if I Dawn Dusk this, then I'm going to get the random elites in hand, as well as getting another final spark. I think I might actually go for that. See what he has. Wow, that went off. That's nuts. Targeting Fizz with Final Spark's actually probably a mistake.
Never lost a fair game.
That's probably gonna hit Lux. That kind of sucks, but we're okay with that.
All that glitters.
So we're just gonna Final Spark, try to kill TF, get some damage through.
I'm out.
Chances are we're gonna use removal to try and kill as many non-Fizz things as we can, so we can swing for lethal. Can't do anything about that. Yeah, we'll just try to kill as much as we can. If we target Fizz, if he has a 1-mana spell, he can protect the Fizz. Alright, that's unfortunate. Can I force damage through at all? I don't think so. I can kill this Fizz for sure now, though. But I would lose one of these to do it. Yeah, I think the correct play here is to have this kill one of the black market merchants. And then we're just gonna full swing. Wait, what is that? Huh? Oh, it's ephemeral. I'm being stupid. Alright, here we go. That one. Kill that one. Alright. There we go. And now we're one spell away from leveling up this Lux.
Goes to a good cause. Me.
For the fallen!
So what we're gonna do is pull this, pull that, pull this. Yeah. And then he has to block, or else he dies.
Fire beware.
I think we're in pretty good shape here right now. He lost his whole board. We're gonna get a bunch of elites in hand. We can always, I mean, it won't actually kill our opponent. Ooh, banner. It won't actually kill our opponent to Ezreal and then Mystic Shot, but we have that as an option. Alright, that's fine. We have this Prismatic Barrier. I think we just play a bunch of powerful creatures, I think, is what we're going for here. So 4 mana, 6 mana, that leaves 3 mana, so that's probably what we actually go for here. We could go wide and get a really good Bannerman, or try to get a really good Bannerman. It's possible we have a PZ card on top.
At least twice as much.
Yeah, this is definitely the part where we run this out, see what it does. Ooh, we hit Allegiance, nice. So it's a Demacia card on top. With only 1 mana, I think this is definitely the part where we barrier. And we're gonna kill Longtooth with this final spark, I think. Actually, wait, we can just kill him if he can't buff hunters. So we're just gonna go for. Yep, there it is, and we got him. He knew what was coming. Alright, that was a good start.
The superior tactic is to never give up.
That's an E-glitch. Alright, on to game 2 here. I'm gonna guess this is some sort of mid-range, maybe Challenger-esque deck / Frostbite control. Chances are Thermogenic will be pretty good. Single combat, I don't know. Well, I guess, you know, this whole hand is pretty good. This gives us a turn 3 Remembrance, which leads into turn 4 Mageseeker that's already buffed. So this is probably pretty good. Thermogenic should be able to catch a lot of big Freljord and Demacia things, and single combat with this buffed Mageseeker should be a pretty strong play. Oh, Unyielding Spirit. That would be great on a Lux in this matchup, because if we Unyielding Spirit a Lux, our opponent really does have no play. If we pick anything that's not a Lux or an Ezreal / Garen with Unyielding Spirit, there's a high chance it gets purified by our opponent. But so we just basically want to find the Lux and keep this Unyielding Spirit to level her up. We should be able to eat this with whatever this creates. That's alright. I wish it had Toughen lifelink, obviously, but we'll take it. Now the question is whether we want to Persuade her and kill this Battlesmith or Incite her for max damage. I think this is actually where we want to Mageseeker Persuade her more than anything else. Because this Battlesmith could become a problem. So I think we just have to deal with it this turn. And this gives us single combat available as well. And even if we don't single combat this turn, we bank single combat, which is just as good. Well, there comes the Purify. Alright. Let's just do this, I think. We're just gonna swing. We're gonna swing. If he blocks with Vanguard Sergeant, we're going to single combat to try and kill the Battlesmith. I think that's probably our best play here. Because we could also Thermogenic to kill it. You know what? Yeah, that's what we're gonna go for. We're gonna Thermogenic kill this Battlesmith. If he had Frostbite, that was a huge blowout for us right there, so this is probably the best play. He could have a tough card here, though, which would make the Thermogenic much worse. Oh, I think he does. Oh, Radiant Strike. That's fine. That's alright. We can still single combat to kill it. Ooh, there's the Lux we wanted.
Take a look at this.
So, I could play this, but I think we really want to preserve 3 mana, so that the turn after with Lux we could play Unyielding. Though I do only need 1 banked mana for that. I think Succession might be the best play here. There's a lot of oh man, if I Succession, I leave single combat open. Alright, we're gonna go for big threats here. We're gonna go for big threats. Bank the 1 mana, we play Lux next turn, and the turn after we Unyielding Spirit her. And that should basically seal the game for us. Right, this isn't too concerning yet. We will happily trade this Radiant Guardian.
I will end this here.
My time is
Right now we're just trying to preserve our health so we can get this Lux turn payoff. There's a good chance we're not swinging with Lux this turn though.
The sun is shining.
Because if we swing,
We should
he
too.
blocks with like the Mageseeker, breaks the barrier, and then has a single combat to follow it up, we're in trouble. Like as long as Lux lives, we're good. So we're just gonna let that happen. Because again, he has no play for this Unyielding Spirit on Lux. There's nothing he can do about it. The best he can do is just keep frostbiting her over and over again. Or I suppose Detain. There's Detain. That's one card he could have. We're gonna see what he does. We're gonna leave this Unyielding Spirit as long as we can. Okay. This is scary. This is sketchy. But alright, I think can I kill anything with Last Spark? The answer is no. So we're just gonna let that happen. Let him declare attacks however he wants. Probably gonna pull both of these. That's gonna be... let's see. Okay, he didn't even swing with Battlesmith. That's interesting.
I've been hiding my light too long.
So now she'll kill the thing that pulled her. And she won't die. The question is what we do with Fire Spark. Probably hit the Bannerman. It only does 1 damage in the end to him, essentially, because of this buff.
No more holding back.
We'll save Demacia from
We're just gonna play all these
Demacia
Persuaders.
doesn't need saving.
We want to keep this single combat open in the off chance that his deck is running Deny.
We'll save Demacia from magic.
Demacia doesn't need saving.
sturdy blades, custom made.
Illuminate the enemy.
You have no alibi. You can't
Just gonna
outrun
go
justice.
for this. I kind of want to kill that Battlesmith, but I think this is our best play. Because then we keep all of our blockers alive and
Defend our
lose 2
banner.
units. That's fine with us. She can't take damage, so I'm not worried about that. We are still worried about, okay, that's what he's gonna go for? Decisions. Yeah, I think we just bury her.
We're in this together.
That was a pretty good turn of events for us.
I fail.
Because we killed all of his units there. and kept all of ours. I can always progress day next turn, but I don't really want to do that because I'm only 3 mana away from my next final spark, so succession is kind of better. I'd rather use progress day when I'm at 0 progress and just immediately get a final spark.
Faster than my arrow?
Ashe is a little
think
scary.
not.
Ashe is a little scary. But we have so many units that it's not that terrifying, especially when he's already at 0 for Frostbite. If she was leveled up right then and there, that's scary. That's sketchy, but right now, not too worried about this Ashe. We'll see if he goes straight to combat. That's what we're really scared of at our life total, but it's not that concerning. And if we can get one of these successions off, we're in great shape. Okay. That's not that scary. So we can succession plus single combat, because presumably he's going to go straight to combat and not give us a chance to use this final spark.
Show me a target.
That's fine. Still not that scared. Really weird that he's not swinging with his Battlesmith. I get that he's using all of these Silverwing Vanguards, and they're much better because of that. But it's a very, very weird choice. The question is whether I care about leaving this alive or not. I think we're gonna go for killing this Ashe. I think that's what we're gonna go for here. I think we really wanna kill her here, more than killing this. And then we can use this to kill something. All right, so we're gonna need to use Final Spark to kill the Ashe, but that's fine. We burned another card of our opponents, and I'm definitely more worried about this Ashe than I'm worried about the Battlesmith. He could have some good follow-ups, but I'm not worried about that.
Unify the tribes.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna pass here. Now the question is what we do here. I think we're gonna progress day, even though that gives him a chance to respond to what we've got going on. Ezreal actually could be pretty good. We're gonna kill Battlesmith before he plays anything.
No more holding back!
We're getting his life total low, but we're also still pretty low right now. War Mother's Call. Alright. That's sketchy. What's he got? He doesn't have a Tryndamere in his deck, so that's very... Oh, okay, that's about the worst hit he could have found. Yep, that's pretty good.
What are you staring at?
What, me? You? Nothing. I'm Ezreal.
Decisions. I think we're gonna play this Mageseeker
Confine
Conservator.
and contain.
You don't know what you're doing.
I think we're fine just
A
trading
beacon in
this,
You have no alibi.
this Inquisitor, or Persuader, and just getting all this damage through. We can use Mystic Shot to hit our opponent.
Nailed it.
My call.
Our opponent's pretty low on cards, that's good for us.
Charged.
Yeah. We're in good shape here, but and see, that's why you don't play War Mother's Call in a Gnome and Hawk deck. That's just a mistake, is what that is. I think we probably do just fire this Progress Day. Hit this Omen Hawk, and that gets us within Mystic Shot range to kill him. goes. Ah, he's still in Mystic Shot range.
A beacon through the dark!
That's his last card. Alright. And that's game.
Show them our metal!
We take another one. Too bad Ezreal died. But, you know, we got there. That's what matters.
Did we win?
Alright, here we are with game 3. Ah, it's going to be against the Vladimir Noxus deck. I really like what I've seen of Vladimir Demacia. That's a pretty sweet deck, but this is a pretty traditional one. So I don't want this gotcha. I don't think Lux is great at this spot here. I think Thermogenic plus Mageseeker Insider could be pretty good. We can use this on turn 3 to say kill a Braum, and that'll level up our Mageseekers. This is another good matchup for Unyielding Spirit, and this time we're not even worried about Purify. Ooh, that's the best draw we could have.
I'll try anyone.
The question is, do we Thermogenic here to kill the Disciple? I think we don't. I think we're fine going for Remembrance next turn, and if he gives us a reason, we can always gotcha it.
Rom is on the job.
Yeah, I think we're just playing Remembrance here. Up, and that's about the best find we could get, because now he can't swing with Braum. Yep, and that's exactly what we saw there. Get this first attack in.
You are safe with Brom.
Interesting.
Is that all?
I think we just go for this. We don't want to give him a chance to do Take Heart, because if he's holding Take Heart, if we let the combat happen first, he's going to play that at burst speed, and then we're done. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. By doing this here, before any damage has happened, if he's holding Take Heart, he's got no answer. He needs another Transfusion, and that will prevent him from doing it this turn. Okay. That sucks, but could be much worse than that.
Fight another
We at least killed the Braum, and we took care of 3 of his cards.
You must be Lord Vladimir.
And you must be.
Do I need to kill... No, I'm fine taking 2 damage here from the Disciple. That's definitely... We're okay with that. It's much more important that we deal with the
I
Vladimir.
love a taste of the action.
Alright. This should be a decent turn for us, since we could play 2 Mageseekers.
Magic has no place here.
Definitely leading on this is the best choice, because he's the best card to single combat with, so if they play something where I have to single combat, I can deal with that.
By all means,
Okay, that's not too
get
bad.
in my way.
Decisions.
Their guilt is evident.
We're a little worried about Transfusion, but not to a massive degree. We've taken a ton of damage from this Disciple, but we're really burning out of our opponent's resources. Okay, so we're gonna
You have
pull
no
her over
alibi.
here. We're definitely fine with the
Let's get a
Insider
good look at
dying
you.
to Disciple if he's got Transfusion. Take Heart, maybe. Ah, that works too. Yeah, we're fine with that. We have another one in hand. And we still have this one blocker.
Mother!
And we don't even need to block. Okay,
me
now
show
now
you
we
what
now
I
we
can
block
do.
next turn. He's down to 1 card though. We're kind of low, but not even that low, and he's only got 2 cards left. Oh, Gotcha's a great find here.
Edvin,
Yeah,
come
and we
here,
will
handsome.
Hello, dear. What have you got us into now?
probably just go for that. Well, decisions. Yeah, we'll go for him. Okay, that's fine. We're okay with that. He does get a unit out of it, but that's a pretty good use of that.
What are you hiding?
Are we fine with that? Yeah, we're fine with that. We'll take 3, but whatever. He's got another Crimson in hand, we know that. We're gonna play our
I will
Insider,
keep us safe.
and we'll play this Conservator too.
Petricite, protect me.
I think we'll
Strike
just swing
down
with
the
everything.
corrupted.
Yeah, that's fine. I could play Unyielding Spirit here, but we don't really want to burn that for no reason. We're in pretty good shape right now, so we just have to be smart.
my darling.
Yeah, we're just gonna Thermogenic that, I think. With it being the only unit, he shouldn't be able to do anything about it. And we know he has some Crimson unit in hand, so it's possible he could have pumped it.
Sure, waste my time.
That's fine. We're not worried about that. That's a little concerning. This is disappointing because we wanted to Unyielding Spirit this, but we have to kill it without letting him have another one, I think. Although, there's an argument for not caring because we have this Unyielding Spirit. Yeah, alright. We'll let him have it. We'll let him have it. It's better that we keep a large creature here.
Oh, great.
Oh. I can gotcha kill that. Decisions.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we'll just
No
block like
sympathy
this.
for sorcery.
Keep our life total high. We can use gotcha to kill this next turn. Single combat for anything else. We're in pretty good shape here.
The winter's claw will purge the weak.
Root out magic.
Pity
He
is
could
for
block.
the weak.
Alright, that's fine. Now we kill it
Another
with single
fine
combat.
scar.
So that was kind of a mistake on his part. He did kind of fall for that hook, line, and sinker. This progress day is such a great find here. Ooh, another Insider. Nice. Oh, and there you go. 3-0. We'll take it. So in summary, the deck seemed pretty good. It went 3-0 in the 3 matches we played, though all 3 decks were relatively off meta. The Bilgewater Peasy Twisted Fate Fizz deck is a little bit close to meta, and the Vlad deck are close to meta, but they're like B tier decks. So the deck did alright, but we didn't really get to see what it would look like against a real meta deck. But still, very good with a 3-0 finish. The deck can be very competitive in some degrees, while also being extremely flavorful. As you saw, there's lots of interactions between many different cards, from champions with other champions, and the Mageseekers and Lux, and all of that. There's lots of flavor in the deck, so if you're looking for a lot of story, this deck's a great way to go that route, while also still having a deck that's coherent and fun to play. It does its thing really well. It's a pretty unique thing, casting the 6-cost spells, buffing all your stuff, and the cards are very powerful and fun to use. And Lux herself is just a really fun combo piece with the Final Sparks and the different ways to level her up and the way she can protect herself. And her champion spell is pretty strong, so if you have multiple Luxes, it doesn't feel that bad. Yeah, it was just in general a pretty good deck, pretty good performance. Slightly worse than the more meta-standard Lux Mageseekers package, since we give up all of the Heimerdingers for more flavorful champions, as well as we include some of the less stellar cards, like the 1/1 for 1. But that does help us against more aggro matchups by giving us early blockers, and obviously it does synergize with the deck, so all in all, it's a really fun deck if you care a lot about story and want something that's going to be really fun to play and just have a lot going on to interest you other than just playing the game. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this show. If you would like it, I'll probably make more of them. I have a couple other ideas for other dash of flavors that I could do. It's just something I personally love about the game, and I noticed it and had the inspiration to do this series from playing Lux Mageseekers. I grinded it and ranked for a week once, and I just love the interaction between Mageseekers and Lux, so I wanted to really make a deck that capitalizes on it and gets as much flavor as you could. And so I was pretty excited to do this, and I have a couple of other deck ideas that are pretty fun for this concept that I think have a lot of great interactions. So if you guys want to see it, I'll just keep making them. I don't know how consistent the schedule will be at the moment. Things are pretty hectic, so I'm not entirely sure when I can get to it all, but hopefully it won't take me too long to get to the next episode. So thanks again, and give it a like if you liked it, and share it with any of your friends that would be interested.